Breaking news: thousands of disabled drivers could soon be left behind in the race toward a greener future. A major update to the UK government's electric car grant scheme is set to launch this coming Monday, August 11, and it could spell trouble for thousands of blue badge holders. While the policy was designed to encourage more people to make the switch to electric vehicles, there's a growing concern that some of the UK's most vulnerable motorists will be excluded from the savings. So, what exactly is changing, and why could blue badge holders be missing out on up to £3,750 in government support? Let's break it down. The Electric Car Grant, or ECG, is a new initiative by the UK government aimed at cutting the cost of brand new electric vehicles. It's being rolled out as part of a wider push by the current administration to meet climate goals and reduce our reliance on petrol and diesel. Under this new scheme, eligible drivers purchasing electric cars under the value of £37,000 could receive a grant of up to £3,750 to ease the financial burden of going green. On paper, it sounds like a promising move: cheaper EVs, cleaner air, and a healthier environment. But for thousands of disabled motorists, particularly those on the Motability Scheme, it's not quite that simple. According to Matt Fieldhouse, Managing Director of Mobility in Motion, the scheme's affordability threshold could actually disqualify around 11,000 disabled drivers from accessing the grant. That's right, more than 10,000 blue badge holders may find themselves unable to benefit from this support due to pricing restrictions that don't account for the true cost of accessibility. So why is this happening? Fieldhouse explains that out of the 40 most accessible and affordable EVs currently available through the Motability Scheme, only 20 meet the government's new price cap. In other words, half of the most suitable electric vehicles for disabled users are already disqualified from the grant, not because they're luxurious or excessive, but simply because they cost more to meet the unique needs of disabled drivers. And that's not the only problem. The ECG provides no exemptions, special provisions, or additional allowances for blue badge holders. Everyone, regardless of mobility status, is expected to meet the same criteria. That means disabled drivers must find vehicles that are under £37,000 and cover the cost of any necessary adaptations or modifications out of their own pocket. Whether it's adding a wheelchair ramp, adjusting seating for comfort and safety, or converting a vehicle to become wheelchair accessible, WAV, these are critical changes and they don't come cheap. The current setup places an unfair burden on a group that already faces significant barriers to transportation. Fieldhouse makes a strong point: if the government is serious about making the switch to electric vehicles inclusive for everyone, they need to adjust the policy to reflect real-world needs, not just headline figures. And this isn't just a small oversight. Let's look at the data. So far in 2025 alone, around 225,000 electric vehicles have been registered in the UK. Based on the current statistics, 4.9% of the population are blue badge holders. Doing the maths, that means approximately 11,025 disabled drivers are likely to purchase an EV between now and the end of the year. That's 11,000 people potentially missing out on a grant that could ease their transition to cleaner transport purely because the price cap is too low for the types of vehicles they need. So what can be done? According to experts like Fieldhouse, the government must act quickly to ensure that this grant doesn't leave disabled motorists behind. One solution would be to raise the price threshold specifically for vehicles purchased through the Motability Scheme. This would reflect the additional costs of adapting vehicles for disability access and allow blue badge holders to choose from a broader range of suitable EVs without being financially penalized. Another option would be to create a separate grant pathway or include special provisions for drivers with mobility needs, such as extra funding for WAV conversions, discounted accessibility features, or dedicated slots within the grant portal for disabled applicants. Because here's the reality: the current scheme assumes that every driver is starting from the same point. But that's simply not true. Disabled motorists face higher upfront costs, longer lead times, and a more limited selection of suitable vehicles, and none of these factors are considered under the present ECG rules. This isn't just about equity, it's also about long-term sustainability. If we want a truly green future, it has to be a future for everyone, not just the able-bodied and financially privileged. The government must make space for disabled drivers in their EV strategy if they want to succeed in creating a cleaner, fairer transportation system. Now, let's be clear, the idea behind the ECG is commendable. Encouraging EV adoption is absolutely the right move, and affordability is a huge factor in making that happen. But when you launch a one-size-fits-all policy, you risk overlooking the unique needs of large groups, and right now, disabled drivers are the ones being left behind. If the policy isn't adjusted, we could see thousands of disabled people delaying their transition to electric vehicles, or worse, being forced to stick with outdated, polluting cars simply because there isn't an accessible option within budget. That's not just bad policy, it's counterproductive to everything the Green Initiative stands for. So what happens next? All eyes are now on Monday, August 11, when the ECG portal officially opens. This will be the first real test of how inclusive the system is in practice. Campaigners are already calling on the government to amend the scheme, and many hope that early data and public feedback will push policymakers to rethink the criteria. If you're a blue badge holder or someone using the Motability Scheme, it's essential to check your options carefully before making any commitments. Reach out to mobility experts, compare models, and see which vehicles qualify for the grant. Unfortunately, you might have to act fast if certain models sell out or manufacturers raise prices. It could impact your eligibility even further. To everyone watching, this story is a reminder of how vital it is to consider all citizens when designing policies, especially those affecting accessibility and mobility. As we transition into a greener age, inclusion must be at the forefront. Electric cars aren't just for the tech-savvy or the wealthy. They're for families, seniors, disabled drivers, and everyday people trying to do their part. So let's hold our leaders accountable and push for a version of the electric car grant that truly supports everyone, not just those who fit into a narrow price bracket. And if you found this video helpful or eye-opening, don't forget to like, comment, and share it with others who might benefit from this information. We're covering stories that matter, giving you the full picture, no fluff, no spin. For more updates on mobility, policy changes, and how they impact your daily life, subscribe to my channel and turn on notifications. You won't want to miss what's coming next. Thanks for watching and take care out there.